With the first full season of Dallas starting tomorrow, I thought I'd take a little bit of time today to go over my thoughts on the pilot, the first 5 episodes. Now, I know I have an episode by episode analysis at the time that they were originally kind of aired, but I wanted to take the time to dialogue not just how the episode felt, but how the season as a whole felt, or in this case, just the pilot. There's not really much to say. It's not that organic of a show at this stage. The show's really in its infancy, and that's fine. It's also the first of the genre of the hour-long nighttime soap opera, which became a staple of 80s television. This is 1978. The April in particular that we're talking about. So that was a while ago, and that it took some time for it to find its footing. I think the pilot overall was extremely experimental. There are several things that set up future things, not just future things a part of Dallas, but a part of its spinoff as well, which we will get to. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, the pilot, extremely experimental. They just tried a lot of different things. And most of those things worked. In fact, some of them worked too well. I know I discussed this in that review, but that 4th episode was so well done that it was uncomfortable to watch. And it just wasn't fun. And Dallas should never be in a place where it's not fun to watch. And I think they learned their lesson. And I think it's going to get more fun as we go along and all of that stuff. There's not too much I can discuss about the pilot other than the pilot does a wonderful job of setting up the rest of the series, but in the same way, it really doesn't set up the style of the series because it's not serialized yet. It will get there. About midway through this upcoming season, I think we'll get there, but until then, these are just kind of one-off episodes. Doesn't really matter. And really, no one had tried to do something like this before, so overall, was the pilot of Dallas successful in terms of that little trial season? Although it's incorrect to call it season 1. It's really the pilot. Was the pilot successful? For what it tried to do, yes. I think it was extremely successful. Was the pilot, in terms of just the overall season, very successful? I would have to say no. It's not a very good season. It has a lot of good moments, but in terms of a season for the type of show that it is, no, it's not very good. But you know what? That's fine. It needs to take its time to find its footing, and it will get there. And I have faith that it will get there eventually. What are some things that I am expecting to see in this next season? Now, the problem with Dallas is I have already seen this full next season. In fact, I've seen it a couple of times. But I've never seen it episodically. Never. So it will be very interesting to see how that plays. I think the show will find more of its footing, but I think it's going to do more of it's going to realize what it doesn't want to do before it can curve it around and keep going up. And it will be through the roofs eventually. But we're just not there yet, and that's okay because the show is in its infancy. Is the pilot awful? No. There are plenty of worse things you can find on TV. Trust me, I have seen them. But like every TV show, Dallas struggled to try to find what it was. That first episode is extraordinary, and not a single other episode in that pilot matched the quality of that first episode. that first episode is really unique for a first episode of a television series. The pilot overall, they were trying to see what they could do. And most of the things they did well, but it's still trying to figure out what it is and whether there's an audience for it. And even then, this first half of the first season is going to be really rough. I think it's going to be really hard to get through. But, it comes with the territory of doing a study like this. And I have no regrets of doing the study this way, because I feel like I really get to experience Dallas the way it was originally intended to be experienced. And I can't say, because the problem is that I'm also looking at it through the lens of where television is today and where this formula in particular went. And that's why the pilot doesn't come across that well. For its time, it may have been groundbreaking. Who knows? It may have been extraordinary television. But for now, it's fine. Am I looking forward to the next season? Apprehensively, yes. Like I said, I think it's going to get a little rough before it gets better. But again, I keep on saying this. It's forgivable really early on in a show. The point in time when it gets later and later in a show and it starts to go that way, that's when it becomes unbearable. Early on in a show, everyone's trying to find who they are. I think a great modern day example of this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That first season was really hard to get all the way through, and you could see how few people actually stayed from the pilot. I happen to be one of them. I think the show really did find itself at the end, but then they also went really dark in season 2, and I don't think they knew what they were doing. But I'm also not well versed in that world. I'm much more well versed in this world than I am in the world of Marvel. But anyways, I will catch you guys not tomorrow, but probably Thursday with my thoughts on the season 1 opener, which we are going to have a 2-parter, but it's spread over 2 weeks. So I'll have my thoughts on the first part of the season 1 opener. I will catch you guys then. Thank you for watching.